What it do, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm so excited to give you guys a roundup review of a whole bunch of makeup items that I have been testing out in the background, getting my opinions on both on camera and off camera. So there's a lot for me to talk about today. Let's just get into it. Alrighty, so if you're wondering what's going on with my face, I did film it and it should actually be up before this video, so I will go ahead and have it linked down below. I did a full face of Danessa Myricks today, and it's just continuing on with my kind of hope to promote and showcase a lot of full faces of makeup brands that are owned by whatever the Heritage Month is. The month of February in the US is celebrated as being Black History Month. So that's why you guys have seen a lot of Black owned brands featured on my channel this month. Typically in these videos, I like to go ahead and lump everything together to make it seamless, effortless. I will try my absolute best, but this is quite a big container. So yeah, let me see if I can arrange it so that it will be easier for me to do that. Otherwise, I will just do my best to find everything throughout the video. Okay, first things first, I believe I only have one primer in this bucket, and this is the Porefessional light primer from Benefit. This is a little sample size that I just picked up during a Sephora order along the way, and I was interested in picking this up because I had heard other YouTubers raving and roaring about this particular primer, saying that it was great for kind of combating your oils but also just prepping the skin for any makeup application. For me, I think this is a fine primer. I like it. It does only, in my opinion, highlight and focus on one thing, which is blurring and filling in your pores. That is not something that I even care about, to be quite honest, because if I'm gonna put foundation on and subsequently put on a full face, people are gonna know that I have makeup on. It's just the way that I apply makeup. I don't really try to make it look more natural or effortless. That's just me personally. I'm not that one that does like the fresh makeup face or whatever the the kids are calling it nowadays. That's just not me. It's not me. So with this particular product, it's not marketed towards me, but I'm happy I tried it. I think it looks really, really nicely. And if you like the idea of filling in your pores, but you tried the Porefessional and it's just too like constricting, I definitely would recommend this because it's not nearly as constricting as that product, and it does still fill in your pores nonetheless. Next, we have quite a few foundations, so let's buckle up and go through reviewing. First, I did do a video showcasing these. I did a 3-day wear test on these, and these are the By Mario foundations. I have two different shades. One is 25W, the other one is 24N. Basically, I have concluded that I can make either of these foundations work depending on the way that I apply my concealer and powder. It works. It's fine. I didn't really need to buy both, but I was just so excited and just so intrigued by this formula, and I had already seen such fantastic reviews that I just went full in. So yeah, there's that. Hopefully you weren't as dumb as me and bought two different shades that were pretty much the same, just slightly different. Yeah, I think they're both fine. I like the formula. It's not a love. It's really not a love. And if we're comparing that to, like, let's say the House Labs, for me, night and day. Well, not night and day. I just definitely prefer the House Labs. That's what I'm going to say, and I'm sticking with it. Next, for foundations, I also picked up the Pat Mcgrath Labs foundation. I have this in the shade Deep 30, and this is a pretty solid foundation match as well. I really do like this foundation. It is very, very liquidy. It threw me off at the beginning. I didn't realize that it was going to be as liquidy as it was. I actually thought that it was old and I needed to actually return it, but I did keep it, as you can see, and I do like this foundation. It is quite full coverage, but it is a light full coverage. It's not something that you're going to really feel on your face, although it's going to give you that opacity that some people love and, really, really need. I do like this foundation so far. I definitely would recommend it. Is it a favorite? No, but that's mainly because I don't love full coverage. The consistency and like how it wears on my skin, absolutely love. I love the finish. It is like a natural-ish finish, which is something that I have really gravitated towards as I continue to get older. So yeah, definitely would recommend it. But I don't know at this state if I could say it's a favorite. Something that I truly do feel is a favorite, though, is this Juvia's Place foundation. I was not expecting to love this foundation as much as I do, but I truly do. This is their I Am Magic Natural Radiance Foundation, and this is the subtle difference between this and the Makeup by Mario. The Makeup by Mario, in my opinion, it's not a subtle natural finish. It is just a radiant finish. And don't get me wrong, as you saw in the applications, I was able to kind of finesse and work around that by using a brush, by putting on my powder, by using my favorite primers and all of that. But that said, it is still a radiant foundation, whereas this is more of a natural lit from within finish that just works. It works so nicely. There is a quite strong fragrance with this, so do keep that in mind. I know some people don't like fragrance. I'm not a huge fan of that, but it was something that I really wanted to try. I have this in the shade Legos, and I will say this does give you more product than a typical foundation, but I feel like I'm already going through this quite quickly, and I haven't used this, a whole 3 months or anything like that. So for me, it's interesting to see how quickly I may potentially get through this foundation. So yeah, keep a look on that, and I'll definitely keep you guys updated. So I think those are all of the foundations. Let's go into concealer. Okay, so I only have 2 concealers to talk about today. One is the Pat Mcgrath Concealer. I have this in shade MD26. I really like this concealer. It is very similar to the foundation. It is a full coverage finish. It has that natural kind of radiant finish as well on top of the full coverageness, but I just like the consistency of this better. It is a little bit more creamy, kind of whipped, whereas the foundation is a little bit more liquefied. And I don't know, I just, for whatever reason, this is just a coverage, a consistency, everything that I like. I like the color as well. I would definitely recommend it, and I can definitely see why so many people really love the Pat McGrath base. I'm starting to see it, and I really can appreciate it. Another concealer that I can truly appreciate is this one from NYX. This is the Bear With Me Concealer Serum. A lot of people were raving about this last year, so I picked this up. I still intend to do my full face of 2022 favorites from other YouTubers. I just need to sit down and do it. But this was one of the products that I picked up because of that video. And I have this in the shade Camel. This is in the shade Camel. I really like the color. I thought it would be too light for me, but when I applied it under my under eyes, it really worked nicely. I do like something that's going to be lighter. I don't need a lot of coverage, so this really works for me. I would say this is a light medium to a medium coverage, not a lot, but for somebody like me who typically on like an everyday when I'm not putting on makeup to film, I use a type of coverage foundation like this where it's in a tube. It's like a medium type, so this type of concealer just really works with that overall vibe and aesthetic. I like it. I really do. It once again gives you that natural kind of radiant finish. And so yeah, it's a really nice concealer. I would definitely recommend it. Now we have powders. I have 2 powders to talk about, and they are kind of night and day in my opinions. Let's just go ahead and talk about the Pat McGrath Under Eye Setting Powder. This is in the shade Yellow. Now what I will say is, first of all, you do need to get off that like top layer. That top layer is literally like a coat over this whole product, and until you get that off, you're really not going to pick up any physical product on your brush. So I didn't realize that until the second time that I was actually using this. That first time it felt like I wasn't setting my face because I quite literally really wasn't. But once I got through that, this is a very, very fine powder, and I find that it works beautifully at setting the face. You can really set the face, but not have a full-on matte, flat look. I really, really like this. This, once again, really, I understand why people love the Pat McGrath base routine. It really does make sense. And if you're somebody who does like full coverage, but you also want it to look a little bit less full coverage, and also it doesn't feel full coverage, that is something that is a definite bonus and positive about her base products. None of them feel full coverage. I would definitely recommend that range. I really, really would. The other powder that I picked up, I actually picked this up last year. I just never got my thoughts because it got lost in the sauce of my bin. This is the 16-hour Cover and Last Powder Foundation from Essence. I am not a huge fan of this. I find that, one, the color isn't the best for me. Two, it gives a lot of coverage. And three, it really mattifies the skin. Now, if those are things that you love and appreciate and you're looking for, go for it. It's not that expensive. I want to say this might be like $5 or so, but for me, somebody who really likes a medium coverage, as I've said, I also really like a more natural skin-like finish. Even though I don't mind it looking like foundation and makeup, I still want it to look a little bit more natural and skin-like. This is just not the product to do that. This is going to really mattify your skin and really just lock her in and give you so much coverage. So for me, this is just not the perfect product, but I definitely can see who it would work for. It's just not me. Okay, so I have so many cheap products to talk about. So I guess let's just run through those very, very quickly. So first, let's do the cream highlighter. This is from Tarte. This is the Maracuja Juicy Glow. I have this in the shade Amber Glow. I really like the color. I think the color is perfect for me compared to the other colors that were available. It is a bit light, but you know, highlighter, you just want it to be a little bit lighter than your skin. So I'm not really bent out of shape about that, but I'm just not in love with the formula. There's nothing that really kept me going back to this product other than the fact that I had to test it out to review it. I think that you truly should blend this out with your finger. I wouldn't recommend like putting this on the back of your hand and then picking it up with a brush. I just don't think that this is the right formula to really pick up on a brush. You can use a sponge. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but you can do that. I would say this is more of a good base, or just expect a truly lit from within. Don't expect a miracle coming from this. And I say that having tested out the Rare Beauty highlighter in the same time frame. Now, granted, this highlighter is not an actual cream highlighter. It is actually a powder highlighter. This shade happens to be Flaunt, but it just does so much more and is so better. It's so much better than that Tarte one. So for me, if you really want a new highlighter, I definitely would say go with the hype. This is really a beautiful highlighter that I truly would recommend. Keeping with the cream products, I also picked up some more by Mario stuff. I picked up his cream contour. This is in the shade Dark, which it is quite dark. It actually works for my skin tone, so I appreciate that. And then I also picked up the shade Dark Soft Coral. And this is a really beautiful kind of coral, bright pink, orangey tone. What I will say about these is if you want something that is going to be extremely opaque, extremely out there and in charge, I would not recommend these. I think the one kind of thing that by Mario does all well in his range is his stuff all comes together to give you that effortless, glam, beautiful look. So you're not going to get something that's super opaque or anything like that. They will all be blendable, don't get me wrong, but you're not going to get super opacity. And for me, when it comes to cheek products, specifically cream blushes, I need that opacity. I just will not reach for a cream blush that is not super opaque. Cream bronzer, I can get away with not having it super opaque because traditionally I'll use a cream and a powder bronzer, but for blush, for whatever reason, it has to be opaque. So I'm not in love with the cream blush formula. although it is the exact same formula as the bronzer, I can get by that with that one. I'm just not in love with that one either. We have some more cream cheek formulations. The Tarte Sculpt Tape. I have this in the shade Deep Bronze. I believe this is the second to last shade in their formula. As you can see, I have gotten through and used quite a bit of the actual product. So definitely keep that in mind when you're thinking about, like, you know, whether you should pick it up. I actually just puffed it up. So it's a little bit more product in there than I thought. But once again, it is very similar to the By Mario. It's not going to be a really opaque product on my skin. So I would say if you're somebody who likes a medium at the most to light coverage foundation or base product, this will definitely work. Even if you wear actually no base product and you just like to wear cheek products, I could definitely see you using something like this. It is just not going to be an end all be all for somebody like me, and I feel like I could get through this particular product very quickly, which is not a ringing endorsement for me to want to continue to spend my money. That said, I'm very happy that Tarte did create their own range, because otherwise I was never able to try a formula like this from Charlotte Tilbury, and from what I'm hearing, people are actually loving this formula more than her formula. So now I don't feel the need to buy that formula as much as I used to really want to try it, and I just didn't have the ability to. Okay, I think these are the last cream. No, they're not. Okay, 2 more cream cheek formulations coming your way. Next, we have the Merit Flush Bombs. These 2 shades were actually sent to me. I have the shade Fox, which is a more neutral kind of everyday cream blush. And then I have the shade Persimmon, which is a little bit more kind of bright, reddy orangey type situation. I love this formula. It's a really nice everyday formula. Once again, very similar to the By Mario in the Tarte, where if you're somebody who likes a light finish to a medium finish, this is really good. But what I think is different about this formula to the By Mario is that it builds better with a powder blush, if that makes sense. So I think for me, it's just an easier build to literally put this down and then put my matte blush on top or my shimmery blush on top than with the By Mario. The By Mario, for me, it just doesn't blend out as evenly as this one does. So this one, it just allows me to build that powder on top. And don't get me wrong, would I prefer for these to be like super opaque, full coverage? I could only use these? Yes, I would. But I can work with them, and I like the formula enough to be willing to. So keep that in mind. Yeah. These are 2 new shades. I think they came out with 4 new shades very recently this month, and that's why they sent me those 2. I really do like them though, so yeah. Okay, last cream blush formula is one that I actually want to get some more shades of. I just haven't pulled the trigger yet, but it's coming. And this is the Cheek Fluff formula from Half Magic, and this is in the shade Magic Brownie. This is a beautiful neutral toned blush. Now I have applied this I think now twice on camera, and looking back at the footage, it appears as though this shade is not different enough on my skin tone for the camera to really pick it up. But to my eye, it looks beautiful, and I love the way it applies. It blends all of that. So I do want more shades. There are some other shades that are definitely different than my skin tone, so I would love to pick them up. I truly just haven't gotten on the website to do so, and I'm sure right now would be the perfect time because we're right around the day, like literally tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow is President's Day, so I'm sure there's going to be a sale. I've just been going through some things. So next, let's go ahead and finish up the cheek products, shall we? I have a highlighter from Pat Mcgrath. Now, I've had highlighters in the past, but I didn't have one from her permanent range. So I decided to pick this up, and this is Bronze Mirage. Now, this is a really, really nice formula. It's extremely smooth and it is a nice formula. I would say this is one of those formulas where it doesn't have an opaque base, but you can definitely see the color that it's meant to be. I really, really like Pat McGrath's cheek products. That's where I feel, in my personal opinion, she shines completely in these formulas. I wish that this was a Baked Gelée formula, but I have plenty of those, so I don't need any more from her. That's the formula I would highly recommend, but this is a solid formula. So yeah, I like it. I do. Then we have another highlighter. This one happens to be from Rim Beauty. This is in the shade Miss Jupiter. This is a really pretty, like, red toned highlighter. Once again, I think it's beautiful and you can see the tone that it's supposed to be, even though I don't think it has a true base. It's not like a super opaque formula where like multiple skin tones can't make use of this. Multiple skin tones can do that, and that's what I love about some of these newer formulations that are being made when it comes to highlighter. I think this is a nice highlighter. Is this going to knock down my one size Fantasia highlighter? Absolutely not. But it's good. It's so good, and I'm happy I picked it up, and I will definitely be keeping it, but it'll take a lot to knock down that highlighter off of her pedestal. It really, really will. This is an old highlighter. Why do I have it in here? This is old too. I don't know why these are here. Okay, we're almost done for today. Let's do a couple of eye products. No, actually, let's do eyes last. Let's do lip products very, very quickly. So I have 3 products that I want to talk about. I have the Makeup Revolution IRL Filter Finish Lip Liner in Americano Brown, along with the lip cream. You guys have been loving these 2 products on my lips, and I've been loving them too. They are a very nice formula. I will say the lip liner, I feel like I'm going through it quite quickly, as I feel I go through all pull up or roll up lip liners very quickly. It's just the way that I apply, and because these tend to be creamier than any other formula, it's just one of those things. But I do really like the tone, and I love that this is slightly deeper than the cream. Even though they're basically the same thing, you have that slight difference in there that it just really allows you to frame your lips beautifully with these 2 colors. So I'm really enjoying them. Not much from Makeup Revolution do I actually pick up and then enjoy. So I'm very happy to have found these 2 products. Another lip product that I'm very much enjoying is this Rare Beauty lip cream. This is in the shade Brave. I really like this shade. This is like a burnt kind of clementine type shade. It's very, very pretty. The formula, once again, is kind of that effortless, like moussey formula where you don't feel like it's drying your lips out. It's not a gloss, but it's super, super nice, and I really do enjoy it. So highly, highly recommend that formula. And I can't wait to see if they come out with more shades that will be right up my alley. Now we're into eye products. The one that I am so elated I can review this, and I'm quite literally throwing this in the garbage. The garbage is the ABH mascara. I can't stand this mascara. I truly can't. I've tried my best. I don't like it. So this is in the normal formula, I guess, Lash Brag in volumizing mascara. I love the wand. So that made me feel like I was really going to enjoy this formula. And it says it's volumizing. I love volume. I really do. But to me, this is like Clump City. It really is. Now, with one layer, I can use this and then put false lashes on top and not feel any type of way, because when you're putting false lashes on top, I feel like it really doesn't matter what your eyes look like under, like it just doesn't matter because you're going to be covering them up more or less. But I might keep this to do that purpose, because I truly don't have a full size mascara other than this thing, but I really don't like it. I don't. So if you didn't catch the message that I was putting down, I would not recommend this. I wouldn't. Yeah. But mascara is so like individual. So there may be other people who love that mascara. It is just not a favorite for me. Alrighty, so we have a lash glue. I'm very excited that I picked this up. I don't actually remember the rhyme or reason why. I think it's because I'm getting low on my actual lash glue, and I heard so many people talk about this. This is the House of Lashes eyelash adhesive. I think this is just their normal one that happens to dry down clear. I love the brush. I love the application. I love this eyelash glue. I really do. I cannot wait until my lash glue is done because this will probably be the only thing that I pick up from here on out. It is fantastic. It only has enough product on the wand for me to like apply to one eye, but it still gives me just enough that I'm not like having to dab off excess because I put too much on the lash band or whatever have you. I just really like this lash glue. Highly recommend it. And it also doesn't take very long for the glue to dry down so that I can actually apply it like the one that I'm currently using. So we have some other eye products and then we're done. We're down to 5 items, so not all that much. First things first, let's go ahead and talk about the one single eyeshadow that I picked up from Half Magic. And this is in the shade Wet Pebble. So this is a beautiful like taupey gray brown-ish tone. I think this is a beautiful shade. It has been a shade that I have reached for to do one shadow looks. I believe I've had at least one video on here with me doing that particular technique, and I really do enjoy this shade. I would definitely recommend it. I like the little compostable type packaging. I think it's really cool, and for somebody who maybe doesn't have as big of a collection or doesn't have any Z palettes, it's nice that they can just kind of pick the shadows up and just know that it comes with its own little compact that they can use for their everyday use and not have to buy a separate compact. That's really quite nice. Then I have 2 lash styles that I picked up from Juvia's Place. So I picked up one in the style Egypt XL and the other one in the style Nefertiti. Have I tried Nefertiti? I thought I tried it. It doesn't look so. So I'm going to actually take this out. But I know I've tried Egypt XL. I love this style. I did have to kind of clip off just a little bit like I typically do. But the actual style is beautiful, especially on camera. The first time I applied it on my eyes, I felt like it was quite a bit voluminous, and it really does kind of swoop up to your eyebrows. So keep in mind, if you don't have a very wide kind of eyelash to eyebrow ratio, this may look extremely big on your eyes, but it's just so fluffy and just wispy. I love these. I've already used them multiple times, and in the point where I was like at the beginning of testing these particular lashes out, I would literally wish I had time to put makeup on just to put these on. And that's saying something for me. Don't get me wrong, I'm not like one of those people that like has to put lashes on, but to literally want to put makeup on just to put lashes on, that's saying something. At least to me, it's saying something. Like I said, I thought I put on the Nefertitis, but it doesn't look like I pulled them off. So I'm going to make a priority to try those out. But so far, I'm really enjoying the quality of the Juvia's Place eyelashes. I have 2 eyeshadow palettes that I want to go ahead and review for you guys. The Glaminatrix Glamorous palette. I've already done my 3 looks 1 palette for you all, and I will have that down below. I really like this quality. I think it's fantastic. Once again, as I believe I said in the video, I feel like Glaminatrix is finally continuing to just find their stride when it comes to the formulations of both their shimmers and their mattes. I don't think they've ever had a problem, in my opinion, when it comes to the mattes, but the shimmers, some have been touch and go depending on the palette, and I feel like this palette, they finally got both formulas right and nice. And so I'm very, very excited to see what comes from them. I know I have some things waiting in the background for me to test out, but the one thing that I have from this brand is an older palette. So I don't envision that it's going to have this particular formula, but if it does, kudos. If not, I knew that going in, and I just wanted to have it for reference. The last thing I want to talk to you guys about today is from Lorac. I showcased this earlier on this year, and this is the Lorac Surreal palette. This is a beautiful palette. It's beautiful. The formulas are great. I don't know why people don't talk about the brand other than the fact that they don't have, you know, groundbreaking color schemes. And I also don't think they really send out PR like they used to. I know when they had their Lorac Pros, it was like a catch 'em all type thing, and YouTubers were always talking about them. I also think they were actually sending PR to those YouTubers, but it was also, once again, you have to kind of continue to stick with the trends. And I think the brand kind of reformatted themselves to be more of a makeup artistry brand, which is fine. But if you're going to stay in kind of the normal market, it's going to be kind of hard to compete with brands who are kind of giving to a different constituency than you were attempting to. But in the event that you see a Lorac palette that you're interested in, I would now definitely say go for it, because I'm really happy to have that palette, and I need to reconfigure my top drawer because some of these products, they need to find their way in there. But with that said, that's all I have for you guys today. I would love to hear any new products that you picked up recently in your opinions. Definitely shout them out down below. If there's something that you want me to test out or even just pick up for myself, I would also love to hear if you have your own opinions about any of these products, because I'm not the only one. And I forgot one. So this is the Benefit Porefessional Super Setter. I got this in the set, I think, with the primer or something. Somehow I picked this up. I think this is fine. I don't think this is revolutionary. I don't even truly think that this really sets my base more than any traditional setting spray. So I would not recommend this. So yeah, that's probably why I forgot to talk about it, because it was just in the background collecting dust. I'm going to try my best to get through that quickly so that it does not actually truly collect dust. But anyways, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. The next video I plan to upload is going to be another full face. I haven't decided what brand I'm going to be highlighting, but I have so many brands I could highlight. I could highlight Juvia's Place. I could highlight LYS. I could highlight multiple different other brands that are just available at Sephora, and there's not much time left in February, so I'm hoping to cram all of those brands and all of these ideas in very, very quickly. So I hope you guys are along for the ride, and I will see you guys next time. Bye guys.